Hi there and welcome back to ChangeX. My name is Michiel and I'll be your host tonight, and I want to thank you for tuning in. Today we've got a storytelling workshop with Myle Duijvestein. She is an actress and a storytelling coach at Stories in Action. So she has extensive experience in connecting people through the power of stories. And today is all about your story and how to tell it. Whether you want to make new friends, maybe grow your social media presence or increase your sales, today you will learn the basics of storytelling and how to tell your story with greater impact. And make sure to take notes and follow along, because if you do the workshop yourself, you'll get more out of it. And also, fun fact, this is a pre-recorded event, so you can join us in the chat where Milena will actually be able to answer your questions live as the workshop rolls on. Now, without further ado, let's dive straight into the workshop with Myle Duijvestein.
Thank you, Michiel, for that wonderful introduction, and welcome everybody. Thank you for joining me tonight in your living room. Michiel's absolutely right. This workshop is about you. It's the storytelling basics. Obviously, we've never met, so I kind of had to see, what am I going to choose? Are you going to do it for your business, or are you going to do storytelling for personal reasons? And you could be either or. You could do it to attract customers, this workshop. For your business, you could do some branding, or maybe you need to write a speech or engage your employees, or you just want your business to grow and expand. Or if you do it for personal reasons, this workshop, that's fine too. Maybe you want to make new friends. COVID's been tough, and you want to increase your likes on social media. Fine too. Good reason to stay. Or you want to write a wedding speech. I hope that's the case. Or you want to make a lasting impression at a bar as soon as COVID has left the building. Then this is also the place for you to be. But it does have a warning sign. I'm going to talk about that in just a minute. What we'll be learning today is about connection. It's about staying in the present with storytelling. We're going to be talking about storytelling listening, which is about 80% actually of storytelling. We're going to be talking about two pronouns, which is you and me, and exactly the difference between that. A little bit about the hero's journey. Obviously, it's Joseph Campbell's, and I'm not going to be doing it justice, but I'll touch on it a little bit. It's essential. And talking about the purpose of storytelling. So let me get back to this warning sign. The warning is, if you're still with me, then and you want to continue, then there's one thing. You will have empathy at the end of this hour, not only for yourself, or maybe not only for me, but for everyone and everything. And that means that you cannot blame other people anymore. It means you can't disregard them or even hate them. So if you're still into that and you're like, well, kind of working for me, then have to say goodbye. But if not, then I'll see you back. And we're going to continue with Sophie, who I just met about 20 minutes ago, and she'll be doing the workshop along with you. So you can either join us, write along, type along, do the workshop, or you can say, well, I'm going to kick back, put my feet up, and watch Sophie do the workshop. Your best bet is doing it yourself, but I'm not there to watch, so do what you want. Okay, great, you're back. That means you're in for the long haul with storytelling. Along with me is Sophie. She is from France, and we just met about 20 minutes ago, I think.
True. Hello, Myle.
Hello, good to see you. Thank you. I overwhelmed her with the question of whether or not she wanted to be in my webinar with an exercise about storytelling. You really have no clue what we're going to do.
I have no clue at what we're going to do.
Okay, that's how I want it. I gave her an exercise to do, and I'm going to ask you to do the same thing. It's based on connection. And why am I talking about connection? Why did I ask you to do that? Is because storytelling is actually based on the fact that everything is connected. So that means any thought you have, anything you see in the room is always connected with someone else's story. Let me explain. If you see, for example, this a little candle. Yeah, I showed it to you before. Then at home you see this candle, you think, oh, I have a story with this candle. Or you think, well, I don't have a story with this candle. Give your mind just a second, because what does your mind do? It'll eventually go, well, I do kind of recognize it. I remember my grandmother had one, or I light a candle like that every day, or it reminds me of the big candles I have at home. I've never seen this one in the silver cup, but it reminds me of. And that's because your brain is doing that. Your brain is making you feel safe. Your brain wants to do that because if it sees something that you don't recognize at all, like you have no story, you have no connection to it whatsoever, you will freak out. It's like you can't relate to it. So it's really scary, right? So your brain wants to keep you safe and is constantly making you relate to other experiences, other stories that you've had. But somehow, after a few seconds, at first you said, no, I don't have anything with this. And after a few seconds, you were like, oh.
Yes, actually.
So I'd like to hear it. Can you tell us or the people watching us what your story is?
Yeah, all right. My story with this tea light is that I come from the south of France, from Lyon. And every year on the 8th of December, I light on a candle to remind. Oh, sorry, that's
it's okay.
No, because I have to speak in past tense.
No, it's perfect. No, it's perfect. Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Oh
no,
my God.
It's okay. I like that. Thinking ahead. Yeah.
So. 1, 2, 3. I have a story with this tea light because every year in Lyon, which is my hometown in the south of France, where I come from, every year on the 8th of December, we light these sorts of candles to remind that in medieval times the city was invaded by the plague.
Oh. Like a virus?
Yes, like a big virus.
Okay.
Like I know today. And the citizens and the persons in charge at the time decided to light candles like this to worship the Holy Mary, to make the plague go away.
Oh.
And the plague eventually disappeared by magic or by scientific proofs, and now since 1643, every 8th of December in Lyon we light these candles to remember this event.
That's very nice. That's very nice. And we might think, oh, that's kind of a coincidence that she's also talking about a plague, and now we have the virus. And I'm thinking, wow, that's a good story. That's exactly where we are today. But things aren't a coincidence. Your head is constantly connecting things. It's constantly making you feel safe to recognize it. So you can get out of your head. Nothing is a coincidence. We literally did meet just 20 minutes ago. I had no clue this was your story, but I'm always convinced you're the right person. You're here right now. And you've got a great story.
Yeah, thanks.
The difference between storytelling the way you did it now and the storytelling method that I want to teach you is that you've told it as if, it's your story, and I'm listening to you. You're from Lyon. At the 8th of May, you light a candle with everybody else in Lyon, and you...
8th of December.
8th of December? What did I say?
May.
Bad listener. 8th of December. And anyway, then again, I'm listening to your story, and I think that's a good story. But let's say people at home, and let's say you have to sell these candles, right? And there's about 1 million of them, right? You're not in Lyon, so it's like you can't sell them there.
No.
And people here are buying those lighted ones with the little battery function, so it's not really on the market. You still want to attract a customer, and the only thing you have is your own story. And I want to make sure that everybody knows your story, whatever your story is perfect. It's good enough. Your story is good enough to sell 1 million candles. The only thing you need to do is take me with you in the present moment. So you have to go back to the moment of your story and take me by the hand and show me, what were you thinking? What did you see? What were you smelling? What were the things that you were experiencing in that moment with the present tense?
All right.
Why do we do that? Just think about actors that we're following now on Netflix. We get really close to them. We think they're our best friends. Why do we think that? Because they're doing it in the moment. They're acting in the moment. And we're like a fly on the wall watching them. We feel like, you know, we were there too in that moment. We were there exactly when they experienced it. So that we almost feel like they're our best friends. We follow them on Instagram and comment on them. We don't know them, but we think we do because we've lived their moments.
True.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right. I've asked you to write it down
Yeah.
in the present tense. Yeah?
Correct.
I did that because normally I would do that with you one-on-one and then change it, but it might take a little bit longer. So for you guys, you could even pause this and make your story in the present tense and see what it does. And I'm going to ask you to read it.
Yeah.
I haven't heard it yet. So I might, if you're not offended, change a few things to make it sure it's in. All right.
Of course.
All
And,
right.
and also, if I may, I didn't know it would be about this tea light. I didn't know at all it would be about this candle. Once we first,
Oh,
when
okay.
we first met.
Okay,
Right?
good. I like it.
I am in my studio.
Yes.
I go through the kitchen and look for a tea light. It is in a cupboard. I am looking for a lighter, and it is in a white drawer. Then I open it.
You could say, I'm looking for a lighter, and then you actually see the lighter, right? So you instead, it is in a drawer. That's actually written, like you're explaining it. But you don't explain it when you're in the moment. You never see anybody on Netflix go, ooh, I'm looking for a lighter. It is in a drawer, right? So you could, instead of saying, I'm looking for a lighter, you could say, and I thought, where is my lighter, right? Where's my lighter? I pull the white drawer and I see it laying there. Then you have the person with you, right? Okay.
Right. I take my pink lighter.
I grab my pink lighter, yeah, in my left hand.
In my left hand. Then I go through the studio.
Okay, stop. I'm sorry I'm stopping you, but you're doing a great job. But the word then is then you go back to your head, because that's the past. When you say then we know you're talking about the past. So skip the word then.
I go through the studio towards the window.
Okay, I'm walking towards the window, yeah.
It's a nice view.
Okay, and it's a nice view. You go back to your head. You're remembering. So I see, what do you see?
I see the city.
Is it in light? Is it dark or?
It's dark, yeah, it's at night.
Okay.
I see the city at night.
Okay, but then what do you really see?
I see darkness, but building with lights coming out of them.
Okay, so I see shadowy buildings with sparkles of light.
Yeah.
Okay. Tall buildings, short buildings?
Tall buildings.
Okay.
I have the candle in the left hand and the lighter in the right hand.
Okay, so instead of I have the candle in the left hand, I'm holding it in my left hand. I'm holding my candle in my left hand.
Yeah. And I light it with the right hand.
Okay, and I bend over, push the button or whatever. Are you doing a match or what are you doing?
No, a lighter.
Okay, I'm pressing the button, hold it down, and
it becomes live.
it becomes alive. That's a good one. That's a good one. It becomes alive. And then what are you thinking?
I think it's beautiful.
Okay.
And I think...
And you, instead of saying, I think, hey, it's beautiful, then you would say, I think, wow, you're so beautiful.
yeah.
Right?
Yeah, right. And it brings me to my hometown.
Yeah, I think you're so beautiful. And I am thinking about Leon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I get emotional.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to take you there right now because that's not why you're here.
Yeah.
But that's exactly what it does do. It takes you to your emotions because you're back in the moment.
Yeah.
And I felt it too. I was like, oh yeah, I miss Leon, but I've never even been there. Mm-hmm. But I miss it because I feel that you do too. So that is exactly what we do with storytelling. Is you tell the story, you live the story as if you're doing it now, which means it brings you back to now. And now, you, me, and that one person in the audience have been have been to Leon together, and we've missed it. And thank you for letting me experience that. That's one more experience I have because of you. And it's brought us closer. And I will forever buy those little candles now. So you've sold 1 million in my book.
Great.
Thank you, Sophie.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to continue. Thank you. I'm going to ask you back if you dare. We're going to continue with someone else that I've also gotten from the street. He's the one person in the audience, so I'm hoping he's not he's not running away right now. Krijn is his name. Hi, Krijn.
Hi.
Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
And for being a volunteer this quickly.
Thank you.
From about 5 minutes ago. So we're going to be doing a storytelling exercise like we talked about.
Yes.
You really have no idea what you're going to be doing, just like the viewing audience.
No clue yet.
Okay. You're going to be writing about food, an experience. I've chosen food because we have all experienced food, but this can be with any experience.
Yeah.
Right? And lots of us nowadays are talking about imagine if you were skiing down a slope, or imagine if you were eating some apple tart, or imagine if you were eating chocolate.
Yes.
I have checked your allergies.
Yeah.
So no apple tart for you, but some chocolate.
Okay.
Right? You're going to be eating chocolate, and you're going to make us want to eat chocolate too. Right?
Okay.
That's what
Yes.
storytelling. You want us to do something. So we could look at this chocolate and talk about the wrapping or how wonderful or how beautiful it is,
Yes.
which it is.
It is.
But still not going to sell us. It's still not going to make me want to eat it.
Yeah.
I want to eat it because of the experience in the present.
Okay.
I know you've been in the audience, my one only audience member. You've been in the audience and watched it with Sophie. So with this one, I want you to just do about 3 sentences. Right, that's all we need to illustrate our point. Same with you guys. Just write 3 sentences if you can with whatever you're drinking or you're eating right now.
Yeah. So I should eat it now.
Yeah, but just a minute.
Okay.
Before you do, just a minute.
Yeah.
Is be aware of the space that you're in when you start to write. Be aware of your surroundings, the sounds that you hear, the chair you're sitting on, how it feels in your hand. It's all important about the experience because you want to take somebody with you right then and there.
Yeah.
Right? So if something happens or we hear sirens outside, they're part of your experience.
Yes.
Everything is perfect, just the way it is, just like your story's perfect.
Okay.
Okay. So you're holding the chocolate. We'll start right here.
Yes.
What does it feel like?
Yeah, quite soft.
Okay, there we go. And how are you holding it?
Yeah, like
Both hands,
this
right?
with both hands.
Okay. So now write your first sentence. Look at your chocolate and explain exactly as if I couldn't see you how you're holding your chocolate.
Yeah, how would I describe it? I'm holding the chocolate with my, what's this finger? The pointy?
I don't know, the pointy one?
Yeah, the pointy one. And the 2 thumbs. And holding it and squeezing it a little bit.
Okay, good. You can write that down.
Feeling the chocolate. Okay. Holding the chocolate bar with my 2 hands, using my thumbs and pointy fingers.
And squeezing it a bit.
Pointy fingers and squeezing it a little bit.
There we go. Okay,
Yes.
pick it up again.
Yeah.
Then look at it, and you're going to eat it, so you're going to have to.
Unwrap it.
Yes,
Okay.
unless you're into plastic.
No,
Okay,
not
so listen.
quite.
So listen to the sound.
Yeah. Yeah.
What does it sound like?
Yeah. How do you say it? Not. Yeah. Crunchy. Not really the word.
Do it again. And look at the chocolate while you're doing it, because now you're going to your head. So keep looking at it and then think of the word while you're doing it.
It's. I don't know the English word. Crackles. It's.
Cracks.
Cracks,
It
yeah.
makes a.
Yeah. It softly cracks.
What does it make? Remind you of?
Sort of like unwrapping a gift as
Okay,
well.
here we go. I'm taking off the wrapper,
Yeah.
and
Oh.
it's like.
It's like opening a gift
There we go.
at your birthday, for example. I am unwrapping.
I unwrap.
I unwrap present.
I unwrap the chocolate,
The chocolate
which is in the present.
that I shouldn't write down. I unwrap the chocolate, and it sounds like a little, like opening a gift.
Yeah, that's good. Never doubt. Whatever you're writing is good,
Okay.
because that's what it is, right? You don't have to make it any prettier than it is.
Okay.
This is pretty enough, believe me. All right, so hold it up
Good.
again.
Yeah.
Okay, now you unwrap it,
Now I unwrap it. I take it out.
and you put the wrapper down.
Put the wrapper
Okay,
down.
so, right, I put the wrapper down.
Yeah.
You can write that.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. And I put the wrapper down.
Okay. Then you can just say, I put it in my mouth, because you're going to do that.
Well,
And-
first I would
Oh,
crack it.
first I crack it. You can do that.
Okay. First I crack.
We might have to fast forward a little
Oh,
bit, not for you, but for the time. So we're going to continue this for just a little bit.
Yeah. It first feels hard on the outside and soft on the inside.
Okay, so first you say it feels hard on the outside. I
Yeah.
bite down further.
Okay.
And then I feel a surprise.
And then I feel some. Oh yeah, that sounds a lot better.
Well, you said it. I didn't make it up. Now, up to
Yeah.
this point, I think we've made our point. Can you
Yeah.
read it for, thank you for joining us again. Can you read it now?
Yes. I am holding the chocolate bar with my two hands, using my thumbs and pointy fingers and squeezing it a little bit. I unwrap the chocolate and it sounds like opening a gift. I put the wrapper down. First, I crack the chocolate in two. I put it in my mouth. I bite it with my teeth. It feels hard on the outside. I bite a bit further down. Then it feels like a surprise. And it feels like a soft chocolate surprise.
Wow. And
Yeah.
how does it make you feel to say this?
It actually quite makes me want to eat more chocolate because I'm curious what the taste will be like of the others.
Yeah, exactly. And that's exactly what your audience and that's exactly what we're all doing. I think everybody out there is like, hey, I want a piece of that chocolate. What is that? Right? Because
Yeah.
you've taken me with you with your experience in the present.
Yes.
So So that is what I want to do.
Yeah.
Because you've experienced as something positive. It could have been negative. We can't sell it as much then, of course. But it's a positive experience, your project, your product. So that's how you've brought it. And it's funny that with food as well, we talk about food we eat like 3 times a day. With COVID, we're eating like 11 times a day. And we just think, well, you know, yeah, that was a good apple tart. Or yeah, that was a really good dinner that you made. But if you explain to somebody what it really felt like at that moment, it's much more thankful to the person who's made it for you as well. So you should try that at home. You never know what you're going to experience after that. Okay, thank you. I'm going to ask you to stay seated, and we're going to ask Sophie to come back and do our next exercise with you. So if you don't mind staying seated. I'd first like to show you a video about about storytelling listening, which I said in the beginning is about 80% of the storytelling basics, because without listening, you can't hear the story. So in order to catch the story, what the story is, you have to listen. Very difficult to listen. People in my workshops find this the most difficult. A perfect example is of a little boy, because little kids do storytelling listening much more easy than us adults do, is an example of the actor who played E.T. He didn't play E.T., that would be silly. He played the little boy in E.T. Yeah. And his audition, he'd never acted before, and his audition, says 1,000 words. I'm going to play it for you now.
And there's a knock on your door and a man comes in, a grown man, not your brother. And he's from NASA, you know, the National Aeronautics and Space Administration. And he has found out that you have a creature. He doesn't know exactly what, but he has found out you have a creature in your closet. A creature that he's been looking for a long time. And you've had this creature now for 3 or 4 weeks. You become best friends with it, and he wants to take the creature away. And he's come with a search warrant, and he's come with permission to take the creature away. And you're not going to let him. Okay?
Okay, this was the part that you just saw, that the director told the little boy exactly what the scene was like. It's almost a little bit like what you did, Sophie. You set the scene with the drawer, and you put us in the place of your room. If we had a little bit more time, maybe you could say, you know, the colors and where you are and what your situation is, right? And then the boy listens to the man in front of him, the storytelling listening. I'll explain it to you in a bit.
Now, young man, I understand that you have an alien somewhere in this house. Is that true? Well, is it true? Is there an alien in this house?
Yes, sir.
Well, as you know, I am from the government. I'm part of the United States government, and I am empowered to take that alien with me.
But you can't take him away. He's mine.
Well, but the government is bigger than you are, Elliot, and I have all the authority to take him, and I gotta tell you, I'm gonna take him.
You can't take him.
Well, I'm afraid I have to, son.
Can't take him away, he's mine!
But it's not my choice. The president asked me to come here and to get him.
I don't care what the president says, he's my best friend! And you can't take him away!
Well, it's real possible, Elliot, that he'll come back, and you can have him again. But we just want to talk to him and see where it came from and try to find out about other planets. And he probably is the key to a lot of things that we have to know.
But how do I know you're gonna bring him back?
Well, I'm afraid, son, I can't guarantee it.
I think he's afraid of you.
Well, that may be true, but the government tells me what to do, and I just follow their orders.
Well, he's mine, and he lives with me, and he likes me. And he wants to stay here. He likes it here.
Well, we wouldn't hurt him or anything. All we want to do is talk to him.
But I don't want you to take him away.
You know, I've had to talk to your mom about it, and she knows that the government has the right to do it.
And who told you all this?
Well, we learned about it. We know that he's somewhere around here. I mean, I do have a search warrant. I could look around the house.
Tell me, GPI. Right. Tell me.
Well, I'll tell you what. you let me talk to him for 5 minutes, I'll tell my boss that you can keep him. Would that be okay with you, if I could just talk to him for 5 minutes? Would you feel better then? Would you be happy if you could keep him, if all I had to do was talk to him for 5 minutes? That might make your whole day, huh? Might make your whole life, huh? And then he'd be your friend forever, and I wouldn't take him away. Okay, Elliot.
Okay, kid, you got the job.
Okay, welcome back. I saw both of you the moment the tear ran. I saw you go licking off the tear, and same with you.
Yes.
Yeah. Have you ever seen the movie E.T.?
Not yet fully, just some clips of it.
Did this maybe inspire you?
Yeah, now I do want to watch it.
Yes, this is an amazing example of storytelling listening that I ran across, is because the boy kind of accepted what the surroundings was of the director, Steven Spielberg, who told him that, and after that he just listened to the other actor and had empathy for the situation that the man placed him in, and within seconds he let the words resonate within himself, like, you know, oh, how would I feel if my best friend was being taken away? And he didn't have any judgment or didn't want to talk about himself. He got out of his own head and just relived those moments. But one little thing I'd like to say with Steven Spielberg, which makes him so awesome, is that at the end he realized, oh, this boy is really going with the moment, right? He's really going with the moment. And the scene was probably going to be cut with, like, okay, you're going to lose your best friend, you're a terrestrial, you're going to lose him. But you hear Steven Spielberg say, tell him he can keep him, right? Tell him he can keep him. Because he realized, well, if I don't say that, you know, he's going to have really bad feeling at the end of the day. Even if he got the job, he's still going to feel bad because his experience is, I lost my best friend. And storytelling listening is actually the same kind of listening that you see the little actor do. In this, he's not little anymore, but you see the actor do, is that you ask somebody a question, and instead of going in your own mind and trying to relate, as we learned that we do with the candle, we relate to everything, right? We're relating it to our own lives. You disregard that. So I'm going to ask you to question Sophie about change, right? And she's going to. You didn't know this, but I'm just throwing ChangeX. It's going to be about change. You're going to ask her a question. We don't know what she's going to answer. She might not even know now. Her mind is going crazy, like, what am I going to answer? Right? And your storytelling listening is that whatever your brain is saying, like, oh, I have that, don't feel bad, or whatever it is, don't say that. Okay. Just be curious. After she finishes talking, take a few seconds and then listen to your brain to be curious about what the experience is for her. It's like you are stepping into her shoes. It's almost like an actor wanting to play her. So you have to really get to know her. You have to know what she feels like. You have to know what you walk. You have to know the environment she's talking about. Yeah. So nothing anymore is about you.
Okay.
Right? And no, I love people. They're my passion, but we don't listen very well. Because what we do in conversations is you tell me something, that you're from France, and then I say, no way, I went there with my friend this summer. And you're like, oh, really? Yeah. And then I talk about my experience, right? And then you say, oh, but I went there too. And then you talk about your experience. And we ping pong off each other, and we think we're having this great in-depth conversation. But we're not. We're just having this brain conversation that's relating to, like, ooh, I recognize that. Ooh, I recognize that. I recognize that. But if you really want to connect with people and you want to, I hate to say it, but you want to sell something, you have to connect with your heart, which means you first have to listen because you have to know how she feels.
Yes.
Right? A little abstract, but we're going to try it now. You're going to try this at home with whoever is your roommate, and you will not believe what will happen. So here we go. Ask her about change. I'm going to stand here, which is not natural, because normally you would be in another setting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll help you along.
Okay. About change or change is?
No, change. Just change in general.
Ask her about the tunes. So you told me you were from France. How did you end up in the Netherlands, in Amsterdam?
Oh, that's a good question. I have a big sister.
Yeah.
And she got married to a man who is my brother-in-law, who is a judge. And for his career, he had to do an experience abroad. So he chose to apply to Europol in The Hague.
Okay.
And he got the job.
Yeah.
So that was a long time ago, but then I began to come to their house for my summer holidays.
Really?
Yeah, and I discovered the country, I discovered The Hague, the beautiful white sanded beaches, and another country.
Yeah.
And I liked it very, very much.
Okay, I'm going to stop you there.
Okay. But what specifically did you like?
Yeah, I liked the peacefulness.
And what makes it peaceful?
The nature, the sea and the nature, to be at the seaside.
And how does that differ then from France?
You're good at this.
I think because I come from the countryside.
Yeah.
And I love the sea. And
why do you love the sea?
Okay, that's good. You're so good. It's like, I don't know who I got off the street right now. That's perfect. You're doing a very good job. And why do you say foo?
Yeah, because I was a bit nervous if indeed you don't place yourself in the story, like, oh, but you went to The Hague. Oh yeah, I've been there indeed.
And how, did you have a tendency to do that?
I think when she went to the countryside, I was like, yeah, I come from a small town, and I was like, oh no, wait, don't do it. Let her speak. Yeah,
and that's exactly. And it's really hard work to listen, right? It's a lot more. It's a lot harder to listen than to talk.
Yeah.
And so thank you very much. This is a perfect example. And my head was going to like, oh, really? Yeah, you know, my parents were from The Hague, and But I saw that in the beginning you kind of talked like a story that you'd been telling everybody and how you got here, and you know. You went quite fast because you thought, well, I've told this story before, no worries, I can do this one. This isn't that scary, right?
Right, exactly.
Yeah, okay. And then he started asking questions that he didn't even know he had, which you were like, ooh, what am I gonna, right? Right. And that makes for an exciting conversation. It makes for a conversation that's authentic.
Yeah.
Next time you guys meet, always your brain will remember, ooh, this is the guy I had this really great conversation with. But the truth is, I mean, no offense, but it wasn't a great conversation. It was just different than what you normally have, which is more superficial.
Yeah, but how do you do it, like now during COVID, for example, I am starting a new job, you meet your coworkers all via the screen, but does it work the same, or?
Yeah, that's a great question. I thought that working on Zoom or working with Teams would just kill everything. But I have discovered that it's actually more intimate. Yeah? Yeah, especially with my coaching, because now we have a distance of 2 meters or 6 feet or whatever on the, but then I'm like, may I use your computer?
Oh yeah.
Then I'm like I'm in my screen like this.
Yeah.
And they're in my face, and they're huge, right? And I can't, and I'm listening to them, and I'm realizing I'm like this, I'm forgetting what I'm looking like, and it's even more intimate as long as you keep asking the questions.
Yeah.
But if you're somehow in your brain thinking, ooh, I got to go to the supermarket, let me get through this Zoom session first, then you can take a distance, look at your own hair, and then you can leave easily.
Yeah.
So listening is a choice. It's always a choice.
Yeah.
And having it be a choice where you can actually get really close to somebody without somebody saying, you're really in my space. You can listen more intently.
Yeah.
Especially people with like the headphones on. You got that voice like coming in, right?
True. Yeah.
So now if somebody's choosing to not listen to me or whoever, or a teacher, maybe you're a teacher, then
there's not really that option not to listen.
Yeah, you got some work to do.
I also have a question for you, Myle. Can you storytell about everything?
What do you mean?
Any subject could be, or any object could be entitled to storytelling?
Any object, any emotion, and everything. Just like with the candle, I want to prove to you that everybody's connected to everything. So you've had emotions that you think maybe are authentic to you, but I can still relate to them because I've had something similar. But what did you have in mind when you asked that question?
Yeah, maybe more about the negative experiences. Because it's great, and we're learning a lot, and we're talking about positive experiences and indeed empathy. Yeah. But what about you have to tell about something negative?
I'm sorry, I'm getting excited about negative. I'm getting excited about negative energy, but I've kind of forgot this part. So thank you very much. Because negative energies we always see as like something bad, right? So we need a positive, we need the positive candle, and we need your positive chocolate. Exactly. But if you have a negative emotion and you're still here, you're still with us, that means you probably went through a journey with it. It means maybe, just to keep on the safe side, the candle. The candle maybe is somebody that's deceased and you had to light the candle. That's a very, very negative emotion, very sad. But you're still here. In fact, if you're still here and you're watching me on the webinar, you're doing a really great job, right? You're not in bed with the covers over your head. So you've actually made a journey through it. And we as humans always want to make that journey. We want to be a hero that goes through something, or we want to see a hero, and we want to get better at the end. Like bringing COVID in again, we have this on our plate, and most people are saying, well, let's look on the bright side. Let's see what we can, something positive that's happened from something so negative, such a disaster worldwide. What is the positive end of it? Who's the hero in the end, right? So even if you have a negative emotion, people will relate to it because we've all experienced negative emotions. But then the story is, what is it like now? Did you go through the curve of solving it? Did you pull through? If you've pulled through, that's an awesome story because we love people who've pulled through something terrible, right? So if it's a sad emotion, we're attracted even more. In fact, I think we're bombarded with commercials where people are crying and people are, people interviews, oh, they cried, they're like really happy. Why are they happy? Because people are like, oh, hope she makes it through the interview, right? And then she's made it through, they're like, yes, that was a great interview, now she's smiling. And that brings us to our next topic. It's almost like I hired you. And our next topic is everybody needs a hero. Right? Everybody needs a hero, and that's kind of what I've talked about. That's not my, I don't want to walk with that honor. It's Joseph Campbell, and who's written a wonderful book about everybody needs a hero, a hero's journey. And that's exactly what I've said. Every story, and you have to look, goes through a journey, which means that the hero, let me show you this, the hero has a call to adventure, right? Maybe you're called to adventure coming to Europe. I'm just kind of making this up as we come along. At first you're at home, you're in France, you're wondering, hey, can I do this? Should I do this? And then after a while you make the decision, okay, I'm gonna go. And then you go over the threshold, you're going to the airport, you're on it, you've packed your bag, you're gonna do it, right? As soon as that plane takes off, it's the adventure. The adventure starts, there you go. Over the threshold. Most of the time in a hero story, you get some sort of helper, right? Some sort of wise person that comes in and tells you the way to your new adventure, what you need to do. Maybe in this case, making it up as I come along, it could be your sister. Well, when you get here, people are maybe a little bit offstandish, and after a while you get to know them, so hang in there, right? She's giving you advice. But then, bam, you're on your own. You're in a new building in Amsterdam, she's in The Hague, and you're on your own. And you want to make this work, but something comes on your path and it's awful, right? You think you're gonna die. This is like you don't think you can handle it. And that's the hero's journey, is that pivotal point. Okay, I have to fight the warrior, I have to do this. And at that moment you might die emotionally or break down or whatever that hero is doing, but you come out of it. You come out of it transformed, right? You find your new way, you find the new culture in the Netherlands, and you realize that you've made it. And then with this new culture in your back pocket, made it through, then you have to go back to Lyon, right? And say, hey, listen, I've learned a lot. I'm a new person now. I've transformed, but I'm in the same environment. And you get comfortable with this new person that you are, ready to take on a new journey. I didn't do it justice, but that is the hero's journey. And we're going to conclude with one more thing.
Okay.
And that's for everybody, is that when we tend to talk, we tend to say, oh, when you go into a supermarket and you see a woman behind a cash register and you think, oh man, I wish she would just give me that money. Yeah, and she's nodding. She's like, I know what you're talking about. She doesn't know at all what I'm talking about. She doesn't know because I used you, and she's like, me. I never walk into a store and think, can I have that money? Do you ever do that? No. But she's nodding. She's like, And then I think I've told this really good story, right? I'm like, yeah, she totally relates. She's nodding. No. Okay. I'm using the wrong pronoun. I'm talking about me. And we forgot that. We somehow, in everybody's culture, we tend to forget the word I and me, that we don't use it. It's embarrassing. And Brené Brown has talked about, let's be vulnerable. Well, a thumbs up for Brené, but you can't be vulnerable if you don't use the word I, right? Yeah. If I walk into a supermarket and I see a woman behind a cash register and I think, I wish she would give me all that money, then you laugh, right? You're like, wow, that's a weird thought. I never had that before, right? Because it's all mine.
Daring.
Yeah, it's daring. So I'm the one, I don't have that thought. I really don't know why I'm using this example. But then we're relating. We're relating because I'm keeping the story. It's my story, right? So I really want to have that as a final point, that your story is good enough, your story is good enough, your story is good enough. In fact, it's perfect. People come to me, they want me to change their story. Well, I don't want to talk about that. That's not a very nice thing that I did. Yeah, we want to hear what you did, because you're human. And we like human, right? I do. Yeah. We like people that that mess up, fall down, and PowerPoints fall in the wrong way, or whatever. We like that. Because we think, oh, they really messed up. Now I can mess up, right? She thinks she can have that money with the cash register. Oh, now I can think that, right? All right. Well, that's the journey that we have today. Normally, this is how I'm ending it, is that normally people then say, oh, I hope you learn that, and I hope you learn that, and I hope you get this out of it. And I want to ask people not to do that anymore. When you give a presentation, don't tell people what they should know or what they learned, because they probably learned something completely different. And that's their journey. My journey is that I'm very, very thankful that I could have you here with this webinar, and you were so spontaneous to join me, so thank you very much for your time and effort, and have a chocolate. You guys, thank you. Till next time.
Thank you so much, Milena, for that wonderful workshop on storytelling. We learned so much about the basics of storytelling and how to apply them to our personal and professional lives. And I'm really excited about implementing them into my own personal and professional life. We'll be back with another ChangeX event in May. And if you're going to miss us in the meantime, don't stress it. You can find us on all social media at ChangeX Community. And join our Slack group as well. Stay in touch, ask questions, get involved. And until then, stay safe and enjoy yourself.